Hello, little adventurers, and welcome to our story time. Today, we're going to meet a tiny hero with a very big dream. Let's get comfy, snuggle up, and get ready for a wonderful journey. In a sun-drenched meadow filled with flowers of every color, lived a little ladybug named Lulu. Lulu wasn't like the other ladybugs. While they were happy munching on aphids and sunbathing on daisy petals, Lulu dreamed of adventure. She had 7 perfect black spots on her shiny red shell. But she felt what she really needed was a trophy. You see, every year, the meadow hosted the Great Leaf Race. Insects from all corners of the field would gather to race down the Whispering Creek on leaves of all shapes and sizes. The winner would get a trophy made from the shiniest dewdrop, a prize so beautiful it sparkled like a diamond in the sun. Lulu wanted the trophy more than anything. The only problem was, Lulu was very, very small. The other racers were big, strong beetles, long-legged grasshoppers, and speedy water striders. They would laugh whenever Lulu mentioned she wanted to race. "You're too tiny, Lulu," buzzed Barnaby the bumblebee. "The current is too strong for a little ladybug." But Lulu had a secret weapon, her determination. "I may be small," she would say to herself, "but my spirit is big." The day before the race, Lulu went to find the perfect leaf. She knew she couldn't handle a big, heavy oak leaf like the beetles used. She needed something light and fast. She searched by the creek bank, inspecting every fallen leaf. She passed by a large maple leaf, a crinkly birch leaf, and a long willow leaf. None of them felt quite right. Just as she was about to give up, she spotted it. Tucked beneath a fern was a small, sleek, boat-shaped clover leaf. It was bright green and perfectly smooth. "This is it," she chirped. "This will be my racing boat." She spent the rest of the day preparing. She nibbled the edges to make it even more streamlined. She polished the top with a bit of morning dew until it shone. She even practiced pushing it into a small puddle, learning how to balance and steer. She felt ready. The morning of the Great Leaf Race arrived, bright and exciting. The air buzzed with energy. Insects of all kinds lined the banks of the Whispering Creek. At the starting line, a row of leaves bobbed in the water. There were giant leaves piloted by teams of ants, sturdy bark ships crewed by beetles, and Lulu, on her little green clover, looking very small indeed. Barnaby the bumblebee flew down to her. "Be careful, Lulu," he buzzed, his voice full of concern. "It's just a race." "It's not worth getting swept away," Lulu smiled up at him. "Don't worry, Barnaby. I've been practicing." An old turtle named Sheldon, the official race starter, cleared his throat. "Racers, on your marks, get set, go." With a great splash, all the leaves shot forward. The big, heavy leaves of the beetles took an early lead, powered by their strong legs. The grasshoppers used their long limbs to pull their way ahead. Lulu was caught in their wake, her little clover leaf spinning in circles. "Oh no," she cried, feeling dizzy. The other racers were getting further and further away. For a moment, she felt like giving up. Maybe they were right. Maybe she was too small. But then she remembered her dream of the dewdrop trophy. She took a deep breath. "I can do this." She wiggled her little legs, learning to use her own body weight to steer the leaf. Instead of fighting the current, she started to work with it. She found the little fast-flowing channels that the bigger leaves were too wide to use. Slowly but surely, she started to catch up. She zipped past the ant team, who were busy arguing about which way to paddle. She dodged a splash from a clumsy grasshopper and slipped right past him. Ahead, the creek narrowed into a winding section full of tricky turns and swirling eddies. The big leaves were struggling. They kept getting stuck against the banks or caught in the slow-moving pools of water. But this was where Lulu's small size became her greatest advantage. Her little clover leaf was nimble and quick. She expertly navigated the twists and turns, like a little red race car. She saw Boris, the biggest beetle, stuck between two rocks, his giant leaf wedged tight. "Need a push?" Lulu called out. Boris was surprised. "But we're in a race," he grumbled. "We're also neighbors," Lulu said cheerfully. She steered her leaf over and pushed against Boris's leaf with all her might. It wasn't much, but it was just enough to help him get free. "Whoa, thanks, Lulu," Boris called as he floated back into the main current. Lulu smiled and continued on her way. A little further down, she saw Penelope the grasshopper, whose long leg had gotten tangled in some reeds. Without a second thought, Lulu sailed over and helped nibble at the reeds until Penelope was free. "Thank you, Lulu." "That was very kind," Penelope chirped, hopping back to her leaf. Lulu was now far behind the leaders, but she didn't mind. Helping her friends felt good. It felt even better than being in first place. As she rounded the final bend, she saw a surprising sight. The finish line was just ahead, but something was wrong. A large branch had fallen across the creek, creating a dam. The water was backing up, and all the lead racers were trapped. Their big leaves were all jumbled together, completely stuck. "We're trapped," cried a water strider. "The race is ruined," but Lulu saw a tiny gap. There was a small opening under the branch, just near the bank. It was far too small for any of the other leaves to fit through, but for a little clover leaf, piloted by a very brave ladybug, it was just the right size. She took a deep breath, aimed her leaf, and paddled with all her might. She ducked her head low as she shot towards the gap. Whoosh! She sailed right under the branch and popped out on the other side. The finish line was right there. The crowd on the bank, who had been murmuring with worry, suddenly erupted in a huge cheer. Lulu, the smallest racer, paddled her little clover leaf across the finish line. She had won. Sheldon the turtle lumbered over, holding the magnificent dewdrop trophy. It shimmered with all the colors of the rainbow. "Congratulations, Lulu," he said in his slow, deep voice. "You have shown us all that it is not the size of your leaf, but the size of your heart that truly matters." As Sheldon placed the trophy on her leaf, Lulu saw Boris the beetle and Penelope the grasshopper finally making their way to the finish line. They came right over to her. "Lulu, you deserve to win," said Boris. "But not just because you were the fastest. You won because you were the kindest," added Penelope. "You stopped to help us, even when it meant you might lose." Lulu looked at the shiny trophy, and then at her new friends. She realized the trophy was beautiful, but the feeling of friendship was even better. From that day on, no one ever called Lulu too small. She was known as Lulu the Ladybug, the great champion of the leaf race, and an even greater friend. She kept her dewdrop trophy on a shelf in her cozy mushroom home, but she knew the real prize was the kindness she had shared along the way. And every time she saw it sparkle, it reminded her that the biggest adventures often have the smallest beginnings. Thank you for joining us on Lulu's incredible adventure. Remember to be kind, believe in yourself, and never think you're too small to do big things. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more amazing stories. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.